So I know a few more people are going to be joining while we get started, but we thought we might as well get going. I'm Sue Caskey. I know most of you from Progressive Montco, and tonight we just wanted to really talk about what we like, celebrate all the work that we did, and helping to get Joe Biden elected, and then also to just talk about what happens next because the work is not stopping just because we got him, so far president-elect, right? I mean, crossing our fingers that things don't get even crazier. Um, First, we wanted to start out. Mandy was going to say a few words for us to start the evening to kind of center ourselves. So, Mandy, why don't you go ahead?
So it's really great to be here with you all tonight, and um, let's just start by acknowledging that we've all worked really hard, and we've been through a lot of stress, and this is stressful times for all of us, and it's important to lift each other up so that we can keep doing this work. And I'm going to share an invocation now, and you can close your eyes while you listen, or you don't have to. From the heart of universal love, let love flow into our hearts. Let love move through us. From the mind of universal light, let light stream into our minds. Let light shine through us. From the power of universal justice, let power strengthen our purpose. Let power build justice through us. From the center of all worlds and all beings, let the purpose of light, love, and power come to be. Let light, love, and power move us to do the work before us. Let light, love, and power bind all beings together in peace. Let light, love, and power heal our planet.
Thank you, Mandy. That was great. Thank you so much
You're
for really
welcome.
helping
Beautiful.
center us. Before we get started, I just want to say, first of all, thank you again for coming. And the reason why all of us are here is because we worked our butts off to organize before the election and, right? And we all intend to keep organizing even after the election. I think that we all know that presidents aren't the ones that make the change. The change comes from the bottom up. Um, Even after the race was called for Biden that Saturday because of Pennsylvania, and even after Inauguration Day, people are still going to be struggling. People are going to be out of work. People are not going to have health care. People are going to be afraid of getting shot by the police. All of those things are going to be the same, and our work is still going to need to be done. Um, what I wanted to just say is that what we are trying to do with Progressive Montco is really to create this progressive space so that we can all feel good about the work and the organizing work that we're all doing. We want to keep this going in Montgomery County and throughout the state and of course the country. One of the reasons that we formed Progressive Montco was in order to build a chapter of PA Stands Up here in Montgomery County. And so we are working toward that for next year. Um, and it's important to us because the way that they organize is they stand for racial justice, for climate justice, for economic justice, because it's all so intertwined. Our organizing is really relational. It's not transactional. And I think that what we want to talk about tonight is how we did all work together to make this happen last week, both in the election and then also counting the vote and making sure that that Joe Biden gets inaugurated on 21st and that we continue to do this work after that. So the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to ask Ali Frazier to talk a little about the phone banking and the massive amount of work that we did to actually get out the vote for Joe. So why don't you go ahead, Ali?
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie, and as Sue said, I worked on phone banking. We started off with deep canvassing, which is actually something that we did through, a partnership with PA Stands Up. And as Sue just said, in terms of the work that PA Stands Up does is that it is relational and not transactional. So instead of making phone calls to voters and asking them to vote for your candidate, you're actually talking to people across political difference, across many differences, and really having a human relationship and forging these bonds with someone that you've never met on the other end of the phone. And that is one of the things that we did starting in September. We started doing deep canvassing with PA Stands Up in Montgomery County. And we worked to do that, as well as get out the vote calls starting the last 2 weeks before the election. And collectively with, people in Montgomery County, and then people that joined us from outside of the county, even outside of the state, we made nearly 218,000 voter contacts. We had over 4,000 conversations with voters in Montgomery County. And so that was really huge. And so, as I said, we started with deep canvassing, which is something that I think is something that we'll need to win progressive victories moving forward, because it is how you're going to convince people that Medicare for all is the way to go, and that we need to fight for racial justice and all of these types of policies that are, like the Green New Deal, all of these things that are really important to us. You're not going to win those by facts and figures. You're going to form connections with people and convince them that those things are important to them and their communities and their families. And that's what we did with deep canvassing. And so we convinced people to vote, people who thought maybe my voice doesn't matter. We convinced people, I did some deep canvassing. I convinced people to register to vote. And, those things are really exciting. They're difficult conversations that you have with people. And, sometimes the conversations were 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but they really had an impact. And I feel like they made the difference. And with the work that PA Stands Up did, that we did in partnership with them, I feel like that really made a huge difference in flipping Pennsylvania. And so I'm just really proud of the work that we did, the conversations that we had, and just the skills that we learned. And I think that that is what is going to make a difference and really help us push these progressive policies in Montgomery County, in the state of Pennsylvania, and across the country. So I just want to lift up the work that everybody did. And one of our volunteers, Judith, she's not on the call tonight, but she really did a lot of work too. And I was very excited to to work with her, and Sue and others who really did so much and were so passionate about doing this. So it was very, very exciting. And I, like, the last few weeks before the election, when we did the get out the vote calls, we had hundreds of people for each phone bank, and I think I was on for 8 hours at least on election day. And so it was just really exciting to have this victory. So just, really excited that everybody is able to, be here tonight and talk about all the success that we had and, how we move forward together. So thanks so much.
Well, thank you, Allie. And, I know so many folks on this call were spending as many waking hours as they could doing phone banking or text banking. And I think we can really see those results. We see those results across the state, and we can all be really proud of that. So the next thing that we did after Election Day was we had a Count the Vote rally, which is how we got to know so many of you that are on this call. Sue Stout is going to talk a little bit about the rally, the march, and the car caravan that we had on the 4th.
Hi, everybody. So great to see all of you here. Thanks so much for coming out. And we want just to really acknowledge all of the hard work, the enthusiasm that everybody brought to this event, and just tell you a little bit more about it. If you didn't get to join, some of you heard a lot about it. We wanted to get everybody who led something to get a chance to talk a little bit about, what inspired them to do it and any highlights or insights that they had in the participation. And, this was an amazing event because we literally had like 9 days to organize this. I think the meeting that we had where we brought all the coalition members together was on day 10, and 9 days after that, we had to have this thing going. And everybody worked really, really hard. And so we're just gonna hear from folks who participated. Some people I don't see on the call yet, so we'll just talk a little bit, we'll go through the people that are here. But it was really inspiring to me to see that people from all over Montgomery County can really pull together. All of these different organizations supported it by posting about it to their communities, to their mailing lists, to their Facebook pages. And for those folks who couldn't actually, be boots on the ground, they did the background stuff. And then we had lots of people who actually did things. One of the people that is here that I see is Stephanie Vincent from Community for Change Coalition Planning and Networking Group. And so, Stephanie, if you just want to say a couple of things about like what inspired you to participate in the coalition for the rally and march and car caravan. And Stephanie was one of the leaders of the march. So anything that inspired you, any insights that you had from doing the work, anything that you'd like to see moving forward?
Yeah, I am. So I am from Upper Marion, and I spent a lot of time. I got involved in activism this summer. Myself and Mark Jones is not on the call yet. We started working together to do protests, social justice protests in Upper Marion, Norristown, and the like over the summer. And one of the things that we had talked about as election was approaching is that we wanted to do a rally or a march right after the election, because we wanted to show the community that we're still here, that it didn't matter who would win the election, that we were going to fight for social justice and real actual change, not performative stuff, real change in our communities. And then we heard the Progressive Montco was organizing, trying to put together a coalition for the Count the Vote. And to be honest, in the beginning, I was like kind of confusing because we didn't know who was going to be, what was going to look like after the election, like what was the environment going to be, how did what we were going to do fit in with the messaging. Like we didn't want to we wanted to be clear, but I feel like it ended up working perfectly. We started the march not far from the actual location, and did like a 0.7 mile loop and ended up at the rally, and we stayed on the sidewalks, and then when we were like 1 block away, me and Mark decided to take the lane of the street. So we walked down Main Street, and it was awesome. And the car caravan came right in behind us. So it was good. I mean, because I think that I think it was important because for one of my personal things is. One of my personal goals is in our community is to connect people to their values, because I think it's real easy to get caught up in all of our different opinions about things or how we do things or how we make the change. And there's always going to be that. There's all different ways to do it. And we all do different things and have different focuses, but our values, is where we have to stand in together. And I think having the march a part of the rally and talking about social justice and infusing that in there was bringing us back to the values piece about why our vote counted so much, especially in this election. So it was great, and I think it was just another opportunity to continue to build coalition, and I mean and I think that's what we'll continue to do, to actually try to make some real changes, and from the ground, like Sue said, from the ground up. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephanie. And Stephanie did a tremendous amount of work. She put together the imagery for the marketing materials and the Facebook page, and just like blasted it out. I mean, everybody worked really, really hard on this. And you know, if you don't know what specifically we're talking about, I don't think I went into it in a whole lot of detail. This was, we were concerned that the Trump administration was going to do exactly what they have done, which was not concede. And we were concerned that, you know, there were going to be an effort to throw out mail-in ballots. So that's why it was called Count Every Vote. And I see Ellen Stevenson is here from Social Justice Indivisible, and I'd love to hear your insights and highlights and inspirations, Ellen, too. You have to unmute. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love, first of all, it was such a pleasure working with all of you and meeting you and getting to know you a little bit and to understand your values and how aligned we are on values clearly. So that was a real pleasure. And one of the things that we're talking and working on social justice. We have a leadership team of 9 people, and we've been talking about our focus for 2021. And what are we going to be doing? And one of the things we're going to be doing is collaborating with other groups and building coalitions so that we can have some effect on legislation. As we know, the General Assembly in Harrisburg continues to be under the Republican majority. And the Republicans that did lose their seats were the moderate ones. So when it comes to legislation for progressive goals, it's going to be a hard lift. So, but getting back to you guys and the event on the 4th, I had offered to work on the caravan with Harrison. And he's delightful to work with. What a great person he is. But it freaked me out because my phone was constantly pinging with people saying they were going to join the caravan, and we were well over 200 cars that morning, the day of the event. And I had found a place where we could come together. I was wondering if everyone comes, how freaky that would be. But we wound up really with, I think, about 50 cars. We started out very slow on and lined up everybody. And it was a great spot where we started because it was just a straight run on Ridge Pike. And I had asked Harrison to pick up the pace. He was at the front. I was about in the middle trying to watch the front and the back, just making sure that there were no problems. And he did pick it up a bit, and because of lights, and you know, it was rush hour, so there were some cars getting in with us. A lot of people were beeping as they passed us, which was like a celebration. It was great. And it was so wonderful to come upon the rally. And all of the people standing out on the curb and in the street waving to us as we went by. It was really terrific. I'm very happy we did it. I'm just as happy we didn't have 200 people too. So that's my 2 cents.
Great. Well, we really appreciate all the work that you put into it, Ellen, and you and Harrison. So thank you so much. And Mark Jones has joined us from, he's also from Community for Change, Coalition Planning and Networking Group, and United Men of Color. So Mark, if you'd like to say a few things, what we're talking about is the event and just any highlights or inspiration or insights that you gained from working in coalition, things you've learned, anything else you want to say about it? Thanks.
Um, it was great. Had a lot of fun. I'm always moved to find more people that are actually out there that don't think some of the things I say are kind of crazy and too far left, right? How dare I stand outside and fight for somebody's rights? So it felt, I think for me, and I didn't even realize it was happening when it happened, but the convergence when we got there, right as the car parade got there, I literally, Stephanie said, I think we're safe to go out in the street for this last part of the walk. And that's all I thought about. Like the fact that the car parade was coming at the same time, it just, even though we weren't 300 people there, at that very moment, the energy there felt like there was a good 200 to 300 people outside fighting for their life. That was what I was overcome with at that moment. And I think that's the point of these type of events, right? And I was moved by it, and I'm happy to know again that there's other folks that are as in tune with the world outside to know that there's still some work that we needed to do, and that we need to, make sure that our voices are heard. And I'm grateful for that. It was fun. I was excited, and I'm excited to continue to work in the coalition because there's still work to be done. And I'm always for making new friends that are for the right things. And I think at least everybody on this call, to what I've learned so far, are in this for all the right reasons. Like none of us are getting paid. Nobody really had free time tonight to do this, right? Like we're all in the same boat, and that is so refreshing to feel, in this process that none of us have anything to gain other than better lives for everyone else by doing the work that's being done right now. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Nice.
Thank you. I also want to say that really, of all people who could actually pull this off, Mark's wife just had a baby right when this was happening. We're like shortly there before. I forget exactly. Mark, when was the baby born?
He was born on October 10th.
Yeah. So, talk about not having free time.
We had a rally the day after he was born. We had a different rally out there.
A great caravan. Yeah, that was an awesome event as well.
Yeah, my wife is the real MVP
great
for me. She's the one that lets me come out while she keeps the baby and lets me sleep at night so that I'm not super exhausted while after doing these things. So
bless her.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we also have this wonderful, somebody mentioned in the chat, the Worried Drunk group, and I think we have Mr. Kim here. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so please, if you'd like to say what it was like to participate and shout out about your group, and just let us know how to pronounce your name properly, that'd be great.
No worries. My name is Tong Yoon Kim. And I imagine us having many conversations, so don't worry about pronouncing it correctly this time around. We will have many opportunities to engage and become stronger and better friends and allies. So don't worry about pronouncing it correctly this time around. My name, so the Uri Center, we're fairly new to Montgomery County. We did some organizing work a few decades ago in North Philly, and some of the similar and some of the many same group of supporters and activists in the progressive Korean American community really wanted to do more civic engagement work in Pennsylvania starting in 2018. This year was obviously our largest voter engagement efforts. We were very we were very excited to join the coalition Progressive Montco for the rally the following day after Election Day. Um, uh, I think one of our board members was like, he was like, where am I supposed to be? We're going to the courthouse. Oh, I thought you were going to be at the car caravan because that's where I'm at. Even better, we can all coordinate. So yeah, so it was great. And thankfully, some of our national team from the National Korean American Service and Education Consortium, we coordinated with them in Pennsylvania for our 2020 elections work. They were able to come in and also provide the extra excitement for the Korean drumming. On that note, we do want to build a Korean drumming group in Montgomery, in the collar counties. So that's one of our exciting projects moving forward. Just a quick recap of some of the accomplishments that we did. We weren't able to register a lot of voters, but we were able to register some. We made almost 200, over 190,000 phone bank attempts. We sent over 50,000 text messages. We talked to about over 7,000, maybe close to 8,000 voters. And most of our conversations was focused on our values ID. We wanted to value ID community members on their support for citizenship for all and healthcare for all. And we would use those information to continue engaging with them, to continue asking them to volunteer, and so that we can engage those community members to vote on election day or to do vote by mail. We were able to produce a decent amount of voter guidebooks. There is still a lot of work to be done, even though with the accomplishments. I don't want to put a damper, but Trump did get more votes in Montgomery County than last time around. But Biden got a lot more, so that's definitely a win. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and as Ms. Ellen Stevenson said, the work in Harrisburg is definitely not over. There's a lot of progressive policies and agendas and campaigns that we definitely want to engage Progressive Montco on, as well as continuing to build up our base of supporters and memberships and volunteer activities to continue strengthening the Korean and Asian American communities' voices, not only in Montgomery County, but all throughout the state.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you for giving us that perspective. And we loved having the drums came in right before the march showed up and the car caravan, and it just really got everybody fully excited. So thank you so much for that. It was great. I think I have that right. And then I wanted to give, I guess, our lead organizer a chance to talk. Sue Caskey put a huge amount of work into it. Mandy did a great job. She put a ton of work into it, myself, all of our leaders. And then, but I also see that Nora from Bend the Arc is on the call. So Nora, would you like to just tell us a little bit about your participation in this event and maybe a little bit about what your organization does, just briefly? Thanks a bunch.
Well, it was a great experience participating in the rally. My first one. So, except the Women's March, that must have been January 17. This is like my, I tried to help. I helped a little bit organizing, and I was very excited making my two signs. I don't know if you have the chance to see them. And one of my kids was very unhappy because I never helped them when they had to do work for school, and I was making my own sign for the rally. And people were they wanted to take pictures of the sign. That was exciting, but it was wonderful. It was very, very well organized, I have to say. We met, and it was great to meet people I had seen on Zoom, and we recognized each other. We're chatting, and then the caravan was great. It was, you know, we were all very calm and orderly. And like everyone says, you know, when we got to Norristown, the music and the march and all those people together and people speaking, it was very exciting, very, very exciting. And I'm very proud and happy that I participated and was part of it. As far as Bend the Arc, I'm pretty new at Bend the Arc, so I cannot tell you that much. It's a progressive Jewish organization that stresses on, you know, works on social justice issues. As far as I'm concerned, I'm trying to help with Shad Berg's. You're probably familiar with Berg's detention center. I'm interested in immigration as an immigrant myself. That's something that touches me, and that's what I chose to do. So they have a day of action once a month. So actually it's tomorrow. If you're interested, any of you, it doesn't take long to help. You can make 3 calls, and you can look into Facebook, Shut Birds Down Coalition, and so I'm getting my group to call tomorrow, November 18th, for the governor and the lieutenant and someone from DHS to close that institution in Berks County, which is, you know, they're detaining people illegally. They're refugees, and they treat these people as prisoners. I don't know if I'm talking too much. But anyway, perhaps Marcela and oh gosh, there is someone else who's from Bend the Arc, Deborah. And perhaps Deborah has been working with Bend the Arc a little longer. I can tell you a little more. But this is my first time getting involved with social action, and it feels really good. You know, I'm learning a lot, in meeting interesting people, and doing something to improve society, and my little bit, you know.
Thanks, Nora. I was going to say, Deborah or Marcella, do you want to just add a little bit to that, to what Nora was saying?
We can. Deborah, you were involved in the.
No, Marcella, you were supposed to be our spokesperson, so go.
Oh, I am? Okay.
Well, and also, can I just wanted to also mention that after this, we're going to go into breakout groups and talk about what we're doing for 2021. But so I don't know if that's something that you wanted to talk about, you might want to wait, or you can talk about some of the current things you're doing now. Okay. I'll leave it up to you. It's up to you.
All right. So yeah, I'll just briefly mention a little bit of a little summary of. I'm also, like Nora, new to. I just started being active in the summer, and I got involved with Bend the Arc personally when we started sending letters asking for impeachment and resignation, impeachment of Joe Dale, the commissioner, for his statement. And so that's one of the campaigns that Bend the Arc is involved in, currently working with other groups in Pennsylvania. And also, well, we did a lot with Nora, did a lot of phone banking and text banking with, we did it with Bend the Arc National, and Vote Out Fear campaign, trying to reach Jewish swing voters in key states like Georgia and Florida and Pennsylvania. And we also did campaigning with
Mary Gay
the Biden.
Scanlon.
Hmm?
We did some phone banking for Mary Gay Scanlon and for Susan Wild.
Exactly. So we've been working on those campaigns, and then, like Nora said, we would like to work more on social justice issues, particularly in the area. And we're trying to build coalitions also with other progressive groups, like all of you guys, and trying to see what planning there is for next year, and that we would like to be a part of it. So that's pretty much why we're
Awesome.
here.
Great, thank you so much. And as Sue said, we do plan to come back around and let people speak a little bit about what they're planning after our little breakouts. But I really wanted to give Sue Caskey just a minute to talk about her involvement in the Count Every Vote action, because Sue really did a huge amount of organizing and planning for that. She made sure that we got lots of speakers there, and I know that she has a few things that she would like to share. So,
Sure.
Sue.
Yeah, thanks, Sue. Briefly, we were just really thrilled that we were able to get something on the calendar and get everyone to join us. It was kind of like we didn't really do a lot of, we'd had the phone banks going on, but we didn't do a lot of work on actually showing up on election day to get people to the polls and so on. But it seemed like this could be a big problem, that the voting, especially in Philadelphia and some of the Pennsylvania counties, was going to, be thwarted somehow. So I was really so happy that, we just kind of put the call out to so many organizations in Montgomery County. And we had like a dozen or more of you just answer the call and help out in one way or another. And I really, props to PA Stands Up too, because they pretty much came through with everything we needed, with the gear and the swag and the, even a little budget and things like that. But really, I think that all of us together have the real, can really take credit for making it all happen. And we're very excited to do more events like this going forward. But putting pressure on our electeds is really going to be the focus of pretty much everything we do from here on out, one way or the other, right? So, I honestly don't really have much else to add to that, except that, we were glad that we had the opportunity to lead it and to get everybody else to help us out. So it went really well, I thought.
Okay, great. So I know Ellen wanted to share something that she's doing, but I think we'll go into the breakout groups unless, Mandy, did you want to say anything about the rally before we go into the breakouts? Like, you did a great job of emceeing and you did another really great invocation. Was there any comments that you want to make before we kind of do the next segment?
Not really. It's just really inspiring and uplifting to work with so many people who have a vision for a better world for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. I told a lot of people this, that I feel like that activity, the fact that we were able to pull that together with everyone's hard work in such a short amount of time, really sort of reinvigorated my faith in humanity, which had been kind of on a low up to that point. It has been such a hard 4 years, and it's been such a hard several months with this pandemic. So the fact that people could come together, set aside their personal things, and pull together in such a way was hugely inspiring. So I want to thank each and every one of you. Really, it was so important. So Sue's going to send us off into breakout, so I'll let her describe what we're going to do.
Yeah, so we're going to do a short breakout so that we can get, let me see if I did write the instructions. Okay, so we've talked about all the work we did to, make this a win for Joe Biden. Obviously, we did not turn PA completely blue in terms of getting our state house to flip, but that's part of the work that we'll all be doing, and so there's plenty of work to do. What we're going to talk about in the breakout rooms now are what do you want to see happen in 2021? I mean, we all did this work because we were pushing for certain outcomes. So in the breakouts, if you can introduce yourself to the folks that are in your breakout and talk about what you want to see in 2021, and even specifically what you want to see from a Biden administration. So I'm going to put that in the chat window, and then I'm going to send everyone to breakout room. And we're going to take about 10 or 11 minutes to have that conversation. So there's like 3 or 4 people in each breakout. Just take some time to like share what I'm sure that a lot of us have common outcomes that we're looking for. So if we're ready, I'm going to send everybody now, and I will also post the questions again once you're in your breakout rooms. All right, see you in 10 minutes. I guess I can get rid of that big window. Okay, we'll wait for everybody to get back. Oh. Great. So well, I'll wait till everybody's back. There we go. Great. I posted it like a little late, but I was gonna ask if each group had like one person to kind of report back. So if anybody wants to start and talk about what they talked about in their group, you can either put it in the chat or raise your hand. No volunteers.
So I agreed to be the person for our group.
Okay.
So we talked about needing changes for healthcare. We talked about climate change. Our group definitely talked about needing aggressive action on climate change, immigration reform that we felt has been missing, and then something that Liam raised up that is about reinforcing the democratic processes themselves, that there's been so much damage done recently to just basic democratic functioning right now, and that having things in place to make sure that we're not in this kind of position in the future. And I'm just kind of intuiting here, Liam, that like a couple of things that would fall in that category would be like acting against gerrymandering and abolishing the electoral college and things like that, that reduce the extent to which we're actually governed by people who represent the people who get the most votes. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, those are all tough issues too, because so much has been not spelled out in process or law or regulation, and now we find out, oh yeah, you have to actually, everybody's like doing it on the good faith method, which didn't work for the last 4 years. So who else would like to go and talk about what their group? Go ahead, Ellen. And unmute, just you be sure to unmute.
Okay, thank you. We talked, each person introduced themselves, and I met, now I have to look for, where did I write the names down? But from Bend, New York, and an individual who's not associated with any group, but is actually working to do what she can. I think Deborah Schaefer was one, and I'm so sorry, but I don't have the other name down.
I think it was Pam Albright.
Pam Albright, right. Thank you, Deborah. I'd like to just take 2 minutes to talk about a project that involves everybody here. And I've come to the conclusion that if we do not quantify the work that we've done to actually move this election forward and turn PA over to Biden and Harris, it will be ignored. And I think that it's important to be able to do that for Montgomery County and Delaware County, because they are the two counties that actually just blew past any expectation on the amount of voters that would have come out for Biden.
So Ellen, that was the project that you mentioned before. Can I give you some time after we go through all the groups and you can talk about that specifically?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Would that be all right? Okay.
Yeah. All right. We didn't get into a lot of planning. I understand that Bend the Arc is a national organization and that they are just getting to meet now, the local group, Deborah's group, to define what they want to do in 2021. What I'll be doing in 2021 is trying to quantify all of this work that's been done, because I think it will give us more power when we do speak to the Democratic representatives.
Yeah, let's unpack that a little bit more after everybody talks about their group. Who else wanted to speak from their group? I think, do we have two more? Sue, go ahead.
I took notes. Yeah, so I had Nora and Mark in my group, and both of them, actually all three of us, felt like highlighting COVID, working on the COVID issues immediately needs to be done with both the healthcare aspect as well as the stimulus aspect, and really getting working people and poor folks some relief. And also these smaller businesses that, you know, had a really hard time getting any of the relief money. And then Medicare for All came up, but also I think on the top of our list was race relations and just oppression overall, anti-Semitism, equal rights for women, you know, but really tackling white supremacy that, you know, Trump, it's not that it's worse now than it ever was, but the veil has been lifted. And so people have been able to see just how bad race relations are in this country. And so that was really important. That's really important work that's got to go forward. And then, you know, living wage, getting people jobs, economy, and my particular take on that needs to go through the Green New Deal, because the Green New Deal is a jobs, you know, that's a jobs platform. I was remarking on how Kamala had the opportunity to talk about fracking during the debate, and instead of being bold and being truthful and saying, yes, of course, we need workers to have transition into new sustainable jobs. They took the easy way out and just said, oh, we're not going to talk about fracking. We love fracking, basically. So those were some of the highlights. I think immigration, of course, was also a big part of what we talked about. And education, teachers' pay, daycare subsidies, all of those things. Thanks.
Great. We had one more group that needs to report back. Who did not get to talk about their group? I think there was one more. Anybody else?
I was in the other group. I took notes unless anybody else from our group wants to speak. I'm fine to do it. Okay, I'll do it. We talked about several things, including, like Liam mentioned, about democracy reform and the fact that in order to, I guess, push progressive policies, we need to have democracy reform so that, we get money out of politics and, get rid of the electoral college, and, that we're able to do things like move forward on Medicare for all, and, basically pushing, we also talked about pushing Biden, on issues that are, progressive issues that are important to us, whether it's like climate, and we talked about a lot of issues about immigration that were, you know, things that would be either at a like a state level, like shutting down Berks, making sure there's driver's license for everyone, making sure that, you know, education is available for, you know, tuition equity, regardless of immigration status, talking about affordable education for everyone, regardless of immigration status. So a lot of issues there that are, it could be at the federal level, the state level, and then just really trying to figure out what we can do with the state legislature still in Republican hands.
That's a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot there. Yeah, I mean, I think that between continuing the fight to get progressives elected, in addition to the policy changes, is going to be it's going to be all hands on deck, even after January 21. Ellen, do you want to talk about your? And I think, did everybody go? Did everyone have a chance to share from their group? All right, great. Ellen, why don't you go ahead and talk about the quantitative project you're talking about, because that sounds similar to something I know someone in my township is actually working on. So that seems like it might, yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Social justice agreed to, we're going to pick 4 to 6 issues that we feel very strongly about. Last year, we partnered with our local NAACP, and all of this will bring us to that project. But because we feel that by building partnerships, our voices are stronger. So the concern I have is that the Democratic Party, which is where we focused since November 2016, was getting rid of the far right in our federal government because of the damage that they were doing. And you're right, we were not able to flip either of the Senate or the House in Pennsylvania, which means that we will be facing another 10 years of gerrymandered districts again. So I feel that by defining just how much energy and support came to the Democratic Party over the past 4 years, because of the springing up of the organically coming out of people who were just outraged and very worried about the damage that would be done to democracy under the Trump administration. I have no idea how many progressive grassroots organizations even exist in Montgomery County. But when I read the article from the Inquirer about how eventually, and we, you know, the numbers were very close, but when all of a sudden there was a tremendous amount of votes counted and put out there that closed the deal for Biden and Harris. And according to the Inquirer's research, that came from Montgomery County and Delaware County. I know that surprised the Democrats. Everyone, they were kind of focused on Philadelphia, and a lot of work was done in Philadelphia. And I know when I look at what my group did, we're always looking at 1 year, looking for the pluses and the minuses. What did we learn? What can we do better? What are we going to do next year? That when I look at the numbers of things that were done, I mean, they are, it's tremendous how much is being done by each group. If we put that together, it tells a real story about who is the base in Montgomery County and who is the base in Delaware County, and likely in other counties, but I'm only going to look at those 2 counties. So I'm putting together, I'm have a meeting with National Indivisible to, I want their assistance in putting together a survey that I would like to send to a contact person or a leader in every grassroots organization that we can identify in Montgomery and Delaware County. And so that we have a way of estimating the impact that was had on the election. And the reason we need to do this is because we have to focus on legislation to achieve any of the goals that we have. It's not going to drop in our lap, and we're dealing with a Republican majority. In order to get the Democratic Party on the side of some of these progressive goals, they need to understand what activists and grassroots organizations are providing to them. And the only way we can do that is if we actually quantify what we do. So that's why this project is going to happen.
Good.
And I won't have this survey right away. I have ideas, a lot of ideas of different things I'd like to know about the organizations and kind of how they define themselves, because that helps us define the population that we're talking about.
Right, right.
And we can want a lot of things, but if we don't build coalitions and we don't know how to lobby, we're not going to make much headway in a Republican majority. So I think all of these things are connected in order to make progress. So I'm going to ask people, I'll be reaching out to you to please send me the names and contact individuals of organizations you're aware of, and then I'll be contacting them, asking them for the same thing. And then the survey will go out to us all. Anybody have suggestions on this?
I was going to say, Ellen, if you want to maybe set up a separate meeting, I mean, we're all in the organizers have that email list, and maybe set up some time where you can like spell out what you have, like the process you've thought of so far, and then see how many of us might be able to join a meeting to discuss it in more detail and like exactly how we could help with that. Because that's really important. I mean, I think, you know, for our group, and also like the perspective that PA Stands Up has statewide, is that the Democrats are not necessarily functional when it comes to, as we can see, right, when it comes to actually getting power back.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people who have tuned out. And I think that part of the work that we will be doing in our organization is reaching out to people who are either not interested in voting anymore, or independents and Republicans who are ignored basically by the PA Dems. But there's a lot of work to do there, and I think the quantifying some of that is really important. There's someone here in my township in Upper Dublin who does amazing work on that. Marjorie Berlinghoff, I think is her last name. So I would suggest like maybe we do a separate call on that, because that's going to be really important work.
That would be great. Yes.
Cool. All right. You know, on that note, I think I just wanted to like begin to kind of wrap up. It sounds like we all are on the same page with a lot of these things that we're trying to accomplish. We know, you know, not only are we still dealing with Republicans in Harrisburg, but also pushing Democrats toward progressive change is going to be really important. We just wanted to take a minute too to just describe some of the work that we're doing at Progressive Montco going forward. And I'll just say that, you know, we did a Medicare for All webinar, which was really amazing, with Wendell Potter and a couple other like national known figures. That's actually on our YouTube page. And I wanted to invite anyone who's interested, Jamie Malley, who couldn't be here tonight. He runs our Medicare for All working group, and on Thursday night, he's having a working group call, and anyone is welcome to join. I believe this is the Zoom link for that call. So if anyone wants to come on board on Thursday night, please feel free. And I can also send the link out for, well, if you search for Progressive Montco, we have a YouTube channel, so we're starting to populate that with our events and some of the things that we've been doing. And Sue, I was going to ask Sue Stout if you wanted to talk about, we're also forming a Green New Deal group, and Sue, you had some other initiatives happening this week that we wanted to let people know about.
Yeah, thank you. Our racial justice working group is having a planning meeting this Friday, the 20th at 6:30. It's going to be a quick meeting, 50 minutes, just to kind of lay out some ideas to start working together, because it's Friday night. It's not a great night for everybody, but we just wanted to kind of come together really quickly to basically find another day of the week that works for folks. So that we've got some ideas that about putting together these like racial justice mini webinars that are educational, that can go out on all of our social media, really quick things that people can like nibble at and then sink their teeth into as they have time to digest it. And some high school and college youth organizing. We have somebody, a young high school student who's really, Jovina, Stephanie's daughter, has really been working on this. And then the Green New Deal and Climate Justice Working Group, the first meeting is going to be Saturday, the 28th at 4:30. That should be after sundown. And again, that's just going to be a really quick 50-minute meeting just to get people's brainstorming ideas and then pick dates to start working together. And I'll put those in the chat with my email so that if folks are interested, please reach out to me and I'll make sure you get an invite.
Yeah, I was also going to say that for all of our organizers who are here on this call, if you would put like a website or Facebook link in the chat, I will save the chat and I can forward it to everyone who was on this call, and actually everyone who registered for the call will get a copy so that your information can also be spread out to everyone. And I added the joint link for our website just because we use that to send out our mailing list, just information. It's a weekly newsletter, just what we're actually working on. So it's just a good way to stay in the loop on what we're doing at Progressive Montco. So I'd encourage any of the other groups that are on this call to go ahead and put something in the chat if you like. I'm trying to think if there was, I guess because Jamie wasn't here, we talked about Medicare for All. So I think that's it for at this point, right? Do we have, Mark, do you want to go ahead?
So I'm open to ideas. I had an idea of fundraising, but I'm just very concerned that of all of the political stuff we saw leading into the election, and the fact that we are not stressing, and I guess outwardly for me to see more of what's happening in Georgia and the importance of getting out the vote in Georgia, because a lot of this, all of our ideas and the things that we want to see happening kind of rest on those two seats. And I don't know that Democrats yet understand that Republicans don't have a voter turnout issue. Democrats have a voter turnout issue, and I'm open to ideas outside of you guys me flying to Atlanta and going to standing on street corners in Georgia and trying to talk to folks to get them to understand the importance. But I have family who just returned, and they were saying like the people down there don't understand the importance. It's just another, because they do these runoffs regularly there when somebody doesn't get the 50%, it doesn't feel to the people in Georgia that it's of the importance that it is to the rest of us outside of Georgia. And I don't know, like I'm open to idea to how to help them know that those of us over here are actually watching and are dependent on them to do the right thing on whatever day that is.
Well, I think, and Allie just posted a link, Allie Light posted a link for the People's Action and PA Stands Up. We'll be doing the deep canvassing that we've talked about before, and Allie Frazier was talking about the deep canvassing that we did before the election. PA Stands Up statistics show that 36% of the people that they talked to moved toward Biden because of those types of conversations. So you can learn to do deep canvas and sign up there to actually join the deep canvas. There are a lot of groups that are doing like postcards and other types of events. I think Indivisible is actually doing some work on that too. So I would say, I mean, you could start with that link. And I don't know if anybody else, like Ellen, or does anybody else have links to work that Indivisible or other groups might be doing in Georgia?
Yes. Am I still muted?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. They are looking to take the cue from Stacey Abrams, actually, and they are looking at the fact that Georgians are going to vote for who they think is going to be best for them. separate and apart from how it's going to affect the nation. So it's just a thought to keep in the back of our heads when we start doing those phone banking calls and whatever. So everyone is focused on Georgia. I mean, with regard to the impact that's the potential impact on the Senate. So also, I just wanted to mention to Mark, I'm also doing a fundraiser for Fair Fight, which is Stacey Abrams' organization, to help, because I'm sure she can use money. She has done a tremendous amount of registering voters. I think the problem in Georgia is the fact that there's voter suppression going on. So whatever she can do, and she knows it. So I'm waiting for Indivisible to really lay their plan out on how they are going to ask organizations all over the country to help.
And this wouldn't be for you guys, so I'm just going to put out there, where my mindset is as far as this stuff. I think and I love Stacey Abrams, but I think there's a big misconception with voter suppression being the reason that voter numbers are low, or just lack of voter engagement being the reason that voting numbers are low. And I think Georgia already proved that they could fight through voter suppression with the fact that they ended up in these 2 runoffs. Those runoffs only happened because they fought the voter suppression. At this point, and this is just for me, I haven't figured out yet how to do it, so I will donate to your fundraiser, Ellen, because it's important any way that I could help. But I want to, and I'm not important enough yet to be this person, but I want to switch a narrative to a narrative that actually says, like, people need to keep hearing why these things are important, and not through TV commercials, because it's kind of where it's redundant to keep telling people that we're fighting against money while the main asset that we use is fundraising. It just doesn't.
It didn't help us in South Carolina. Jamie Ayers said he had all the money in the world of any senator ever, and it did not help him win. So,
not even close.
I mean, Mark, I would encourage you to consider doing the deep canvas calls, because what they try to do is reach out to people who are persuadable, who are like on the fence, not sure. And it does have these closer detailed, like they're 15-minute conversations. They're longer conversations where you really get to know this person and share stories about what's important. So that is one way they are trying to flip that script of just like, hey, vote for so-and-so, send us money. It's a little bit of a different mentality. So
thanks for the information.
Yeah, the other strategy that a lot of people have been using is relational organizing, similar to, I would imagine, what Professor Montco and a lot of the organizations on this call have done. So, everyone is a few degrees apart. I actually grew up in Georgia. I'm in Georgia at the moment, so I'm excited to help out a little bit here while I'm down here. So, obviously, yes, the deep canvassing, and if there is an appetite to do relational organizing through your own personal network and contacts, I think that's also another option to consider.
That's great. So yeah, so there are some resources out there, and I think that's really a good note to end on. I mean, that's going to be the next big fight, I think, for sure. And unfortunately, even if we do get 2 senators in Georgia, we're going to still have people like Joe Manchin on the Democratic side. So we do have a lot of work, but boy, it would be great to flip those 2 seats in Georgia. So. On that note, I just wanted to say thank you again, everyone, for joining us tonight, for all of your hard work. It was like when I was standing out there on that corner on the 3rd and watching everybody go crazy, all I could think of is like, we all did that, right? We did a thing, as I've heard some folks say. We all did a thing together, and that's how Pennsylvania flipped to Biden. If we hadn't have done that work, we may not be sitting in this position right now. And I can't tell you how many of my coworkers and people around the country, around the world, have thanked us for that work. So I wanted to share that with everybody, because we really did make a difference, and it proved to us, and I hope it proved to some other people, some powers that be, that we do have this power. We have the power to do this. And I really look forward to working with all of you to take more power and make things work for the people and, you know, not the privileged few. So on that note, I would like to say good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh,
And
thank
I
you.
will send a chat around and, you know, we'll all be in touch again, I'm sure.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks
You
for
can all come,
coming.
everybody come off mute and say
Thank you.
congratulations,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you.
Congratulations.
We
Good
did
job.
it. We did
Good job,
it.
everybody.
Thank you for your work.
Got, we started it. Yep.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we did.
Yes.
Keep it
Keep
going.
going.
We're
All
at the
right.
beginning.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah, march
everyone.
on
Yep.
to the
Have
next
a
battle.
great night.
Not
Take
military
care. Thank
word,
you.
but
Okay. Bye, everyone.
thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.
Night.